Man, you know what I think is like one of the best things to ever happen
What's that?
is like you take one of the coolest villains in Marvel, a man who is so good at hunting prey, hunts the biggest of lions, the biggest of tigers, polar bears. He gets so bored of it. He's so world weary because he's so good at hunting, the world's best hunter, that he starts hunting man and he thinks, I'm going to hunt Spider Man because that seems like that would be the hardest thing to hunt. That's the character, and it's interesting. There's a great storyline where he actually kills Spider-Man and then becomes Spider-Man. He puts on the mask because he just can't find anything else to like keep him amused and kills himself. He shoots himself in the head because he can't find anything to keep his attention. It's a beautiful comic book. This one, he protects animals. he's a conservationist.
Yeah. And he has the powers of, yeah, that too. Yeah, I can do that.
So I was so worried about this movie because I watched like the first, like, I don't know, half an hour.
Uh-huh.
And other than the sun thing, which you have to talk about, I was like the first like half hour, 45 minutes, like now, like maybe 25 minutes, like I kind of like this. Like not in like a, this is a good movie way, but I'm like, yeah, this is fine. Actually, like they're setting up the characters fine. Like, it's moving along. Like, and then every other scene, it starts to get like, there's a major problem. And then it's like every scene there's a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then they forget what character has which personality. And it's boy, this movie real not good.
I am so fascinated by what goes on behind the scenes at Sony with these movies and how they ended up the way they ended up. Because like this one doesn't have the deliriousness of Madam Web or Tom Hardy's bonkers performance. And so you're just left with just what would really be just a fine action movie if Canon made this in the 1990s.
I was thinking that the exact same.
Yeah, like if it just looked a little crappier, I guess it would be fine. Like the choice to make everything so gray and sludgy, baffling. I think that Aaron Taylor Johnson is charismatic enough, but like the plot doesn't make any sense. Some of the characters' relationships don't make a lot of sense. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think you could completely lose the 45-minute long intro to him, like the backstory to that guy.
No, I agree. Now that I've seen the whole movie, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just like in the moment of watching, I'm like, oh, this is actually, because I heard so many bad things about this movie. I'm like, this is functional. Like they're telling a story, like things are happening. There's characters. It's just now that I've seen the whole movie, I'm like, hey, it would be good if we didn't see all that stuff in the beginning because like it's bad. I just want to tell you one thing really quick though, because I need you to talk about the sunlight because that was amazing. I like a YouTube channel called Corridor Crew, and they're special effects artists, and they will often do one of their shows is like showing you the best and worst of VFX, and they'll have like VFX artists on to sit down on the couch and discuss. And it's an interesting show. They're charismatic young men, and they did Kraven the Hunter. And I didn't pick up on this, except for the fact that they pointed it out in their review. When Calypso and Kraven are in the geodesic dome for the first time, and they're talking, his mom's old house.
Okay.
They did a still shot and then CGI'd her mouth moving to do pickup audio. So you can see it. They do it on the show, and you can see it like her jaw doesn't move. It's literally they took, and I don't even think they had her do the.
They just clutch cargoed it. Oh my god!
Yeah, what I think happened, and what they think happened, I should say, is they just found the phonemes and then put together the pickups.
Oh my god!
To make these lines of dialogue happen, and I don't remember exactly what they are. I was gonna rewatch, but I was like, I don't actually want to think about Kraven anymore. But like, they actually weren't all that important. So the reason this pops in my head early on in it, because you said, I wonder what happens behind the scenes on Sony, is this movie was obviously hacked to death in the editing. There were some really bad edits in there. That one is, I didn't notice it, but when they showed it, it's like they lost something important or forgot to do something, or, and this is my thought, I think this thing got completely rewritten after everything was shot.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of, if that's true. There are so many scenes where characters are saying dialogue or giving exposition or something where their back is to the camera or they're not being seen. Like there's one shot, I think it's something where they're maybe at the dome where they're together and she turns and walks away and starts like, oh, by the way, something. And then he turns around and is like, yes, something. It's like that Simpsons gag where they hold the stuff in front of their mouths. The Denver Broncos. It was just so glaring. It's baffling because the director of this, J.C. Shandor, has made some really good movies.
Has he?
Yeah, All Is Lost with Robert Redford is a really good movie about a guy who's on a yacht whose boat crashes, and it's just him for the like an hour and a half.
That.
Yeah. I mean, there's some flashbacks, I think, but like that's a really good movie. I haven't seen Margin Call, but like he does these dramas and then he gets dumped into doing this, which I'm sure at the time sounded great. But so there's a lot of stuff here that you'd think having, I bring up Canon Films, watching a lot of like low budget stuff. I just watched the dearly departed Wings Hauser's Nightmare at Noon, which is just so crappy through and through, but it's so much fun. And this just doesn't have that.
Movie.
Yeah, this is just so... It's not like that kind of po-faced, like, this is all real and serious. It's just gray and boring. But then incompetent stuff like that happens and you're not having fun, so it sticks out a bit more.
Yeah, there's so many scenes, where the editing is like, there's one when they're on the savannah, and again, I was going to go back and take notes, but I don't want to think about Kraven that much, and I apologize to the audience, because it's not like I do a ton of prep, but like, usually I will go back and be like, actually make sure I saw that right. I didn't want to. But there's one scene on Savannah where he says a word and it cuts so quickly, and I'm positive that's the middle of a sentence that went on for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And like, it cuts so hard because I think he was talking a little too fast. I was like, what the fuck just this whole movie reeks of it. And the other thing about it is, and this goes back to Madam Web, which we're going to have to touch on a little bit, but this movie would be so much better if it had nothing to do with the Spider-Man people. Like if this had no Spider-Man connection.
That really tacked on Spider-Man connection was rough. I think
which one?
The when he has his hallucination.
Oh, with the spiders.
With the spiders that we'll get into it when we get into a little bit later. But like if you are into Marvel deep cuts, this is setting up some interesting stuff, like with the Jackal.
There's a lot
characters that if you're real in Spider might be excited to hear the name of that. But otherwise, yeah, like it's too busy trying to set up, like with that stuff that seems so ham-handed how they're trying to set it up, but it also doesn't make much sense given the background of the character.
Want the Sinister Six to happen, and it's not happening. Because when he's talking about Dimitri and he's like, my son, he's a real chameleon. His voice can be like anything. I was like, oh, really? That like he's going to be the chameleon, and then they got the rhino, and they reference the doctor that's the Jackal. It's bananas. I do want to say two performances that I unironically adore. One, Russell Crowe is having so much fun that it bleeds through he is loving doing that accent. And honestly, I was like, this is fun. Like, I wish he was around more.
Yes.
And the guy that plays the Rhino, not when he's the Rhino, but in his non-Rhino scenes, he's really good. Like, he's bringing a lot to that fucking role.
Well, because he's bonkers. He's just so strong. Because the Rhino generally is just a big dumb guy, and they made him this like mastermind. But he's just chewing up every scene he's in, and it's like I love it. Energy needs to be in this movie more. Like that's exactly right what he's doing.
So I'm doing I'm going to do the John thing here, where
you have right.
We usually do the other way, where you reference the Patreon movie on the real episode. Uh-huh. But so we're recording this before John and I record the Batman and Robin episode, and I'm going to say something very similar to that one because you haven't seen it yet, but like there are some people that understand the movie they're in. And it's so fun watching them do it.
Yeah.
And I think the Rhino and Russell Crowe, I don't know if they understood the movie they were in, but they understood how to make an amusing performance happen in this movie with that role. And there's some Batman and Robin, I'm so looking forward to you seeing that, especially after this.
Well, here's like bringing up Russell Crowe brings me to a very like core point of this movie. This movie would be 100 times better. And no offense to Aaron Taylor Johnson, but this movie would be 100 times better if that was Gerard Butler.
If Aaron Taylor Johnson
was Gerard Butler.
What I had the thought, and I actually don't disagree with you in the slightest, but I had the thought while watching it that because there is the Kraven's Last Hunt is what I think that's the story where he kills himself, but like we could like Russell Crowe should do, because like in the movie Russell Crowe is Kraven, like he's a big game hunter that has everything, and he gets off on killing like big stuff and hunt, like just have him do it. And I know he's not young and sexy anymore, but like Think about how much more fun this movie would be if it's doughy Russell Crowe in a thick-ass, bad Russian accent, hunting shit, like hunting, I must hunt Spider-Man, you know?
Well, like that scene where he's like going back to his building or something like that, and he wants to get to the elevator, and the guy's trying to close the door, and he throws the knife so it hits the button and opens the elevator. Yeah. And then he's like, he tries to really like tough guy, bully the elevator operator. Gerard Butler would have made that work. Aaron Taylor Johnson, it just doesn't work. Like, he just kind of seems like he's being a jerk there, where Gerard Butler would be like, you could be like, I could see you being a meathead asshole here and having that be more fun.
The Aaron Taylor Johnson is a really bad casting choice for this, because I actually do like him as an actor, but like, he doesn't work in the role. There's no role. So actually, it's not even like it's just, I don't think anybody works, but you know, in quotes, this is a Marvel movie, but it's a Sony movie. But this has every problem that you have with Marvel, where everybody's quippy.
Yes.
Not everybody's quippy in this, but everybody has the same personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no difference between Kraven and Calypso. Like, they're just people that exist. There's nothing to them. And also, sorry, there's so much to this movie and so little. What and who is the Foreigner?
Okay, so the Foreigner in comics, because I'm largely unfamiliar with this character as well. I was looking him up. He's basically like the best secret agent ever.
Okay.
Like, he was married to Silver Sable for a while. Silver Sable was a big, somewhere along the lines of Nick Fury is Silver Sable kind of operates in that same universe. And so the Foreigner was like that as well, like super athletic, super amazing. So on that aspect of it would make sense to be a foil for Kraven, in that, like, you know, I'm a different kind of hunter, if you will. Like, I'm a super spy. Some people, there's some version where like he's actually the Hobgoblin. The real identity of the Hobgoblin is the Foreigner. In this, he's a guy who can hypnotize you.
And I was confused by that.
Played by Christopher Abbott, who I generally enjoy. I like him a lot in Possessor. What they're trying to do with that character doesn't work very well.
So the hypnotism is what? He has superpowers.
Essentially, because I mean, like, he just shows you his eyes, and it's a very Baki, the anime Baki kind of power, where it's just like, he just looks at you and all of a sudden you're hypnotized and he can get behind you to do very little.
And then he talks about Meepos a lot.
Yes. What? Oh.
Cousin Larry Appleton.
That's Balky. Different.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I that was an honest mistake that I definitely didn't do for a bit. I guess he's like, because in the original, when Franz Mesmer, the father of mesmerism and early hypnosis, that was the idea, that you had animal magnetism and you can kind of stare people's eyes and that can hypnotize you. And that makes sense in a comic book from like 1940, 50 something, not in a current Marvel movie where there's no explanation of his powers other than you take your glasses off and somehow you hypnotize people.
Yeah.
Question mark. And also the Jackal in New York, the doctor, Dr. Miles Warren, seems pretty easy to find, huh? Like, it seems like there'd be a lot of motherfuckers with animal personalities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, like, again, like, I'd be so on board with that if that was just, you know, because I don't really know the lore of these characters. Like I said, I had to look up the Foreigner. So I don't care that much if they did the Foreigner differently, but it's just the presentation of his powers compared to everyone else seems so strange. But the reality is this, our hero is a guy that drank a magic potion. So why not? Like, that's how he gets his powers, is he drank a magic potion.
No. He got his powers by getting attacked by a legendary lion, and then the lion's blood falls directly into his one open wound, and then he drinks the potion.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. I'm pretty sure this is the first time, like, some kind of, like, liquid from an animal gets into another guy, and that guy gets his powers. Like, probably the first time. Yeah. Definitely not, like no one's ever been bitten by, let's say, I don't know, like a radioactive spider, just off the top of my head.
Sure.
Never happened before. Certainly not in the same universe. Certainly not literally stealing the main story of the guy you're not even allowed to mention.
Well, I'm also like, I don't know. That is a thing I'm kind of tired about, how like Iron Man tends to fight guys that are different versions of Iron Man. Or, you know, you kind of just create this sort of archetype and like, well, what if this guy was bad? And then you have them fight. Yeah, because he's as a kid, he's on a hunting expedition with his father, Russian criminal Russell Crowe, and gets attacked by lions. Calypso, who's also there and has met her magic grandma, who gave her.
Oh, it's interesting. Her name's Calypso, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't think they mention it.
Oh, really?
Did you notice they mentioned her name 14 fucking hundred times?
Yeah. It's really ridiculous.
Like really, really ridiculous. Because here's the thing. Calypso doesn't mean anything. Like them like really hammering away that that's Calypso. I understand that that's a comic book character, but like that doesn't mean anything. Like that's not like unless she breaks out a steel drum at some point.
Right.
That her name could be Danielle. It doesn't mean nothing.
I also just like how quickly he convinces her to like join in his murder plot. That she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm on board with that.
Yeah. So when the grandmother read, because the grandmother's like some kind of like Bruja, well, that's the wrong continent, but some kind of witchy type, and saw that she was going to give that potion at the right time to the right person. So presumably she saw the future in which she helps Kraven,
I guess.
Question mark?
Yeah. Again, there's just backstory that I don't need every character to be a chosen one. You know what I mean? Just have him be a guy that's good at hunting. Because part of the problem is, well, so he gets these powers. This is the sun thing Alex was referencing earlier. He gets these powers, and then as part of his like, oh, I'm now protecting all the animals, I guess, he encounters these poachers. And this is where like the editing really started to bother me in this movie, because like the sun in this scene jumps around the sky, and it's not that big of a deal, but like at one point it's behind a character, and the next scene, in the next shot, it's like above everyone, and then like he runs and tackles the character, and it's completely in a different space from where it would be behind the character. There's just no internal continuity for a scene. If you've set up this particular, like the sun is here, and then you move it all around, it's very jarring. But it's really jarring at the end of that when he beats the two poacher guys, and then he looks off in the distance, and it's a shot, camera kind of pulls away, medium shot, like chest up of the kid Kraven, and he's panting and looking, and you see presumably what's supposed to be his line of sight, a Jeep driving away, and then it cuts back to him, and it's like they just flipped the image. He is now facing the other way, still in that same pose. And like different mountains behind him. I said, why did you do that? Same thing where like there's a little bit later where there's a close up, like you see a long shot of the foreigner and talking to the rhino or something like that. And then it cuts into a close up of the foreigner, and like the match on action is just not there. Like he's looking down, and then it cuts to, and he's looking forward and talking to you. Yeah. But it's like your eye, you can't get away with that because your eyes are already on him. And then, it's just real sloppy. And it's amazing that this got approved. Like this, there's
another sun one where I'm pretty sure the sun goes down, like it's lit at like 1 p.m. and then about 5 minutes later it's dark. And it's not like they didn't imply that time passed. It's just now it's dark. And it's weird because like the scene continued. It wasn't like, and later, I thought that was the one you're talking about. But so what's also, I'm glad you bring that up. They CGI that lady's mouth to say ADR. How hard would it be to CGI the sun? I
mean, it's more just you could probably remove it from certain
That's
things.
What I mean. Like I just like,
I don't know.
That seems reasonably, I know the shadows probably wouldn't be that great, but like, that's less egregious.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just a weird choice. Like, honestly, if you had taken out the shot of the guy with the sun behind him in this weird, like, nomad land, Chloe Zhao ass looking shot, if you just got rid of that shot, the whole thing would have been fine. I wouldn't have noticed it.
Yeah.
But you, like, because you specifically are like, no, the sun's here behind this guy, and then it's like all over the place. And it's a minor thing, but I'm using it to illustrate a larger point that the editing in this thing is very, very sloppy.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. The other corridor crew they pointed out is he's in that like Citadel monastery thing that gets exploded, and he falls out the window with the bad guy. I think it was with the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like they CGI'd the rocks falling, and the rocks just slowly disappear on the way down.
I noticed that.
Literally
just because I was like, I think they just faded out. But I also was like, it's fine. I don't care. But no, it is weird that they chose to do that. One thing that bothered me about that scene is because a missile is being fired, like a rocket launcher thing is being fired at wherever he is, and he's just fought a bad guy in there, and he jumps out of the window as the explosion happens with the bad guy. But if he had just thrown the bad guy at the missile, I would have been so on board. Like, that is completely just absurd and ridiculous. But his powers are like, I'm that strong now. Why not? That if he just overhand hooked him and the guy hit the missile in midair.
Yeah.
Every other criticism of this movie would be gone. I'd be like, this is the best movie ever made. This is fantastic. But, speaking of his power, so his potion gives him the powers of animals, I guess. And some of that involves being able to leap. The movie opens with him escaping a Russian prison. When he's climbing the walls, you want to just try to sell it, Aaron Taylor Johnson? You want to just make an attempt to make it look like you actually just jumped and aren't just reacting to being pulled off the wall by a crane?
Yeah.
Because it just looks like he's like, oh, no, I'm up here now. There's no like crouching and leaping. It's just, no, I'm up here. Now I'm kind of just going to flex this way and I'm up here.
I wonder.
Who wrote the Book of Love?
Yes. Secondary to that, was this he signed on not having read the scripts kind of deal, and then it was like, really? Because like he's not putting any effort into most of this performance. And I wonder if like it's either you didn't get a script or Sony came in and rewrote the whole fucking thing before they filmed. Because like he's not there for a lot of this. Like he did his job. He showed up. He said the lines. I mean, he's not fine, but like he's not purposely sucking. He's just like he's a 5 in every scene, even when he's like supposed to be angry or whatever. It's that made me wonder that frequently. The other kind of thing, so early in the movie, blah blah blah, he gets his powers. Dimitri's got a birthday, so he comes to visit him. There's this amazing scene, and by amazing I mean I want to strangle myself with my own vomit, where he gets off the elevator and he sees this guy walking with a lady, and he goes, "Hey, nice perfume, by the way." And then the lady, she's like, "Oh, I'm not wearing any perfume." And the other guy looks like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, sorry, she would have found out anyway," because like, oh, she just called him out because he smells like his other lady's perfume. Why is that in this movie?
Yeah,
like, what's that doing? What's that doing for us?
He has powers.
Okay, but we could have done that in a way that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Question mark. Shoulder shrug.
Yeah, I don't know.
But all right. but the reason I want to focus on this early, his brother's birthday. It's established that his brother is known as he's like chameleon. He can sing anything. I can do chameleon. I'm doing my father's voice. It sounds exactly like him. I'm chameleon. Okay. He gets kidnapped shortly thereafter. And that spurns the rest of the movie. That's the inciting incident.
Mm-hmm.
You know what made the movie interesting?
What's that?
He kidnapped himself. Because he's a fucking chameleon.
Uh-huh.
And then it could have been an interesting plot. Instead of just insert villain here, the whole movie was a way for Dimitri to take over his dad's business. And he kidnaps himself using his chameleon powers.
How does that, what do you mean he kidnaps himself using his chameleon powers?
He turns into a fake kidnapper.
I see. So he would have already gone to see Dr. Robotnik or whatever.
Yeah, that's already happened. Because they call him the chameleon 15 times. And there's no reason to believe, like, after all the incidents, like, oh, yeah, by the way, I popped over to New York and got this treatment. Like, the whole thing is, like, he faked it, or that Russell Crowe's been dead the whole time, and he's running the business. Like, there's so much you can do with a shape changer that we've established early on. It's the Chekhov's gun thing. Like, they call him the chameleon so many times, and it doesn't come into play in the movie other than he sings like Ozzy Osbourne and some modern guy that I'm going to say Ed Sheeran. I don't know.
Which wouldn't that be more of like a Mina bird or something? You know what I mean? Like it, chameleons don't.
Because chameleons aren't famous for their voices changing.
Yeah, that's
like, I'm pretty sure they can't sing.
Well, I'm not prepared to go that far.
To agree that chameleons don't sing.
I don't want to be canceled for chameleon stuff. Which, by the way, did you know that the Bare Naked Ladies have a song about being canceled?
Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I think if the Bare Naked Ladies are singing about being canceled, you've lost. That's who's on your side, is the Bare Naked Ladies.
That's got to be a recent thing then, huh?
It's like 2023, I think.
Okay, because the guy that's good in that band left like 20 years ago. Like the guy with the nice voice, I don't know any of their names, but like the reason that band ever got popular left a really long time ago. And the other guy always seemed like kind of a prick. So I wonder if he's like some weird right wing.
Could be. It's just real stupid.
I just, I'm going to defend BNL. You know, that Gordon album, pretty good. Born on a Pirate Ship, also pretty good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
See, it sounds like Born on a Pile of Ship if you hold your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
No, it's very
like
clever.
It's like
That's what I loved about them.
They probably got canceled for that. That's probably like a cancel for the name of that album got them canceled.
They were probably they were too smart.
Sorry. You can keep talking. I hate this movie. I so rarely actually hate the movies, but like, I'm like, it's just, why did it get made? It's so
I think there's a way to Topher Grace this thing and make it a half decent movie. I'm loving where you're coming from. Yeah. Like I said, this is really, to me anyway, bogged down at the front by this like 30, 45 minute backstory about him going to hunt with his dad and then getting attacked by a lion, getting his origin story. Because it's also, I think, part of the thing with origin stories now is that we don't need them. It would be my argument. I think that moviegoers in general are used to this kind of crap by now. And so if you just give me a thing that's like, oh yeah, I took a magic potion, when I was in the savannah or whatever, or just like tiny little flashbacks or something, that's fine. I didn't get anything out of that super long thing. And I actually, by the end, I don't even remember what the rhino was pissed about. What was he mad at his dad about? Because he was like, hey, let's do a deal. And his dad was like, no, you're dumb.
Wait. The rhino.
Because he was on that trip at the beginning.
I think the rhino was mad. I'm not doing a bit. Did he want to just take over? Was it just a money thing?
I thought that thing was like, hey, we can do business together. I've got some ideas. And he was like, no, shut up. You're dumb. I'm Russian. And yeah, I don't remember. It just didn't really seem like that mattered that much to his plans. It just seemed like a guy that wanted to be a rich, like having that personal element to it didn't, I don't know. I didn't care, I guess is what I'm getting at. But like that you knock out a bunch of that stuff or just rearrange it. You just pump up the color in this thing. I cannot stress how gray this movie is. This is about a guy in the jungle, and even the jungle scene. Like if you want to do something like, oh, the city, look how lifeless the city is, but the jungle is all desaturated and looks like shit. Do that and like just tighten it up, because there's a lot of just shitty action dialogue throughout this thing that when I'm not having fun, just hangs there like a turd in the bathtub. Like it's just awful.
Wait, your turds hang in the bathtub?
My turds hang in the bathtub. Yeah. I should say that I'm upside down.
Oh.
I'm hanging above the bathtub like a bat.
Oh, because you were bit by that radioactive bat that one time?
And then drank a surge right before then.
I was wondering why everybody calls you Man Bat. They should make a Man Bat movie. I would just love the 40-minute explanation of what Man Bat is.
I mean, that's kind of what this movie is to an extent. Or like what all the villains
in this movie. It's like Man Bat, but worse.
Yeah. And I also just don't. So the rhino's whole thing is because he was wronged by Dimitri's dad, by Russell Crowe. He's like, well, I learned that you need just power. And so I met with this doctor who turned me into a rhino. And it's like, I like that idea of like, it just makes his skin super tough and like buffs him up, makes skin super tough, but also hurts like hell. So he wears this backpack with the little tube that feeds him. And he looks like a child because he's got a little backpack on the whole time. So that's very funny.
You know what he looked like to me? He looked like one of the Mormon guys.
Yes.
That like
knock on your
door.
Yeah. Elder Rhino. But like just that concept, I like that treatment of Rhino, of just that concept of like, if I will put myself in an immense amount of pain to hurt you, like it can be strong, but it still hurts me. There's a downside to this. But so much of his plan involves trying to outsmart him and set up this whole conspiracy, whatever. But when he finally kills him, when they finally have their big final fight, he like throws him into a stampede of buffalo or bull. I don't know what kind of animals those are. Anyway, like, how come that killed him? Seems like he was kind of impervious until he wasn't.
Oh, because he stabbed him in that port.
Okay, that'd do it.
I mean, I don't think it would, because he'd still be impervious, but like maybe they all stepped on that
port.
Yeah,
well, he stabbed him in the port. Well, I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I feel like there's not going to be an answer, and if there is one, we won't care that much anyway. It's great.
Well, and then this all goes down, and you get this. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I have to interrupt you there because we skipped the most important thing in this movie. Kraven takes over his mom's like wildlife watchtower. That's like this geodesic dome, and he's got it's like the Kraven cave, but he's got a statue where you lift up the head of it and push a button and all of his guns come down, like that fucking Shakespeare head in Batman 66. And I've never laughed more at a movie that wasn't trying to be funny in my fucking
life. I got a big
life.
kick out of that, because who are you hiding that from?
Also, that lady lifts it up looking for a button underneath, so she's seen Batman 66. Because no one would see a statue and go, oh, I wonder if there's a button under there, unless you've seen Batman 66.
Yeah, so his mom, going back to the spider thing, his mom killed herself. We learned at the beginning of the movie that she went crazy and killed herself, and his dad does not care. His dad like treats his mother like a pariah. Like, you don't get a regular funeral if you've killed yourself. You just get kicked into the wet mud. Later, when the foreigner, one of his plans to to kill Kraven is to shoot some fancy serum at him rather than just like poison that could just kill him. It's got to like take him to his worst nightmare. And his worst nightmare is a bunch of spiders coming down on him, because that's what his mom would see when she was freaking out in the hospital with spiders.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you know the thing? Her mom probably before going to Africa went to that village with the spider people, like Madam Web's mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably was like, oh man, these guys are all freaky. They like kind of dress like Spider-Man, that guy that the Daily Bugle. Here, let me hold up the Daily Bugle at the camera for a second. Went to. And so his mom was like really freaked out by Spider-Man, by the spider people that helped Madam Web and the 3 little girls that turn into spider future people. That's
like
probably
he had 0 interactions with spiders up until that point. His whole thing is like, oh, I'm connected to nature now.
Yeah.
And so to be afraid of spiders just does not make any sense, particularly when it seems like the core
it does not
character issue is with his dad and abandonment and just a crap relationship with his parents. Like, spiders. Okay, movie.
It's baffling on a lot of levels. Also, like, yeah, he's into nature, and for some reason that one aspect of nature doesn't work, so fine. The other thing too is he's two things on the scene. At one point he's getting dragged by a helicopter. And he's underwater. Yeah. 2 things. One, that's not how physics work.
Mm.
Like water tension, you'd bounce across the top of the surface because that's how nature works. But 2, why would having the DNA of a giant cat, who are famously shit at water, make him good at being underwater?
He's good at nature stuff. It's just the power of
I didn't think that he was just good at nature stuff. I thought because the whole lion thing.
Lion, okay, but it's also lions are a part of nature, so he gets other stuff that's in nature.
Nature stuff, yeah. It's like because they needed that to happen in that scene.
Like how he can hang on to the side of a car that's going super fast, like barefoot, just kind of holding on to the frame of the car with his fingertips. Like, that's not a problem. As it goes around, tight corners and everything, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Or he can jump up walls that are like, there's like no handholds and like hold on.
Because his powers is, that too. But I also don't understand, like, the movie doesn't say much about like his hunting ability. Because it seems to me that a lot of hunting is the style of more, say, a Mr. Brooks, where you're online hacking into the police station.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's not, this guy wore perfume once and I can, you know what I mean? Like, the way he tracks people is they're very nebulous as to how that happens, even though that's apparently his job.
And the fact he's called the Hunter, when it's like, that's not what you'd call it. Like, he'd be the killer or the assassin. Like, why would that be his nickname? There's no hunting. I mean, I guess there's hunting involved, but in that, you could call literally anyone that's killed more than 3 people the Hunter.
I mean, like, he does straight up murder people. Like when he encounters that one poacher later, and he's like, "Oh, it's you guys were the ones killing these things."
Yeah.
I mean, he found him, I guess, but they don't really tell you how. He just did. And you're supposed to like intuit that him smelling perfume, and that's how he did it. I forget they do the thing where that's why, because they do the thing where they zoom in on a small element like the license plate,
where his eyes change
and then
color.
like he gets crazy zoom vision. He presses L2. He gets
like falcon
zoom.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the famous feature of lions.
Yeah.
Falcon eyes. There are some good action sequences in this. I just would like to say, because we're shitting on every aspect of the movie, deservedly. But that bit where he like stealths behind the guys going up a flight of stairs, I actually thought was kind of dope.
Yeah, it's dumb, but it was the kind of dumb I was on board with. Like, that's, and I also love how when he gets into action, he puts on like a Renaissance fest leather vest. That's pretty awesome.
Big fan of that. Oh, and the bear trap on that guy's head was cool.
Yes, that was cool.
Yeah, like there was a couple good things. Like, there's probably, no, that's not a good movie in here, but I think you could probably Topher Grace 14 minutes or something.
Yeah, like I think you could make this thing fun at least, because that's my big thing. Like, as dumb as it is, that's fine if it was fun, and it's really just not. It's just it's not even like dreary. It's just there. It's just a non-entity.
It was boring. It's just like it's a like, I wasn't offended by it. I didn't like it. It was just kind of like, because it seemed almost competently made at first that I'm like, oh, this is going somewhere. That's why the whole chameleon lack of reveal infuriated me. It's like, why is he the chameleon then? What's the fucking point of if there's not a big fucking, oh, it turns out I was behind this the whole time thing. There was Agatha all along about it, but like with a chameleon. No, it's just his brother can sing. It's so fucking
If they
stupid.
bothered to like, instead of just trying to set up the next, whatever could be next for this character, like if they bothered to try to tie it at all to Venom or Madam Web or something, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But I suppose given Madam Web's reputation and box office, they were like, let's not do that at all. And who knows, maybe that's what was some of the dialogue that they had to put over. They had to make her say something different. That makes me think of Blade 3. I think it's Blade 3 where like Wesley Snipes was so mad at the director, like they were fighting so much, and Wesley Snipes, that he refused to open his eyes during their one scene. They had to see like CG eyes opening or superimpose eyes opening.
That's amazing.
Actors are so weird.
So my thought is this. So this has been in like kind of development hell for a while. I wonder if it had Morbius references.
Oh.
And because Morbius was such an amazing
God, you know what?
Because I seem to remember those.
I completely forgot Morbius was a part of this. The whole time I'm just thinking about Venom and Madam Web, I forgot that Morbius was, oh, fuck. I mean, this is.
You know what you forgot? I don't really know, but I think it's got something to do with Spider-Man. Remember Michael Keaton says at the end of the movie? He shows up and says, I don't know. I think it's got something to do with Spider-Man because there's no evidence for that.
All right. How would you rank these? How would you rank tier lists time? How would you organize these?
Okay. I haven't seen Venom 3.
I'm talking straight up just first ones of each. Because Venom, that's not fair because it's got too much.
Venom, the first one is far and away the best. It's almost a watchable movie. It's kind of fun, sort of gets the tone. Morbius, second place, because it works as a movie. It tells a story from A to B. Not a good movie, not one that I'd like, but Matt Smith dancing, and there's some fun stuff in there. Then Kraven, because Kraven actually is a movie, does tell a story from A to B, and it's a followable story, although a boring one. And then Madam Web isn't a movie. Like Madam Web is almost like below F tier. Like it was a mistake. Every part of it doesn't work. No one cares. No one acts well. I can't think of a single thing in that movie I liked.
See, I would flip it almost like just the Venom at the top, but then I would go Madam Web just because it's so stupid, and awful, and then this, then Morbius was just so ungodly boring. It was so and I just hate.
I thought this was more boring than
Jared
Morbius.
Leto.
Yeah.
I think that's also what's pushing it over is that I do not like that man. I cannot stand that he keeps getting put in stuff. It's awful. This is just fine. Like I said, like I'd rather it be zanier or goofier because I mean, you're dealing with a guy who got rhino powers. You're dealing with a guy who got his powers from a magic potion. His brother becomes a chameleon. Just let yourself have fun with that. That doesn't need to be serious. You're also fighting Spider-Man, who's kind of a goof, and it's kind of lighthearted stuff in general anyway. You can add pathos to it, but in general, it's the fun, quippy neighborhood Spider-Man. Just, it doesn't have to be this way.
Kraven to me doesn't work in fun things. The character is a really good, serious, the opposite of Spider-Man. And it sucks that this is what we got. Because like, honestly, like Kraven the Last Hunt would make for a fucking dope movie or just a Spider-Man versus Kraven movie. No backstory. Literally, Spider-Man swinging around. Some guy tries to kill him. Over the course of the movie, we kind of get the background, but the background's literally, I killed everything else. Right. I'm really bored. Like I've got clinical depression. I think this will make me happy. And then they just fight for the whole movie. I'm there for it. But they didn't do any of that.
That's part of it, is that I just don't think this character's that deep. And like you can flesh out his backstory, and if you want to, if this, like any superhero movie, you want to make a franchise out of this, you can give me stuff later. If you're just like, I fucking kick ass at hunting, and then it turns out the reason he kicks ass is hunting is that he got a magic potion later, fine. But if you just have a guy who's just magically powerful all of a sudden show up, I'm not that concerned. You know what I mean? Like the same thing where Rhino's like, I met a guy and he did this to me. Ta-da! That's it. That's all I needed from that.
Because we're not in like...
I don't need to know how it happened, or did something go wrong, or he did this first and that didn't work, or, I don't care.
Yeah. We're not in like pre-2010 anymore. Like the language of superhero movies is established. You don't need to explain how Tony got the suit, how yada yada. Like you just we're fine. We get it. Like, just what do you got? I'm a Rhino guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, done. Let's watch Rhino guy.
Oh, you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Great. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's explain it at length. Okay. 1, teenager. 2, like, no, we're good. Teenage Mutant, got it. Yeah. I'm a radical dude. Yeah. Michelangelo there, party dude.
Yeah.
Got
I
it.
just don't like, they spend a lot of time too, like really trying to establish like this sort of familial thing with him and his father. And that it never really, as much as I was enjoying Russell Crowe, like I just didn't care that strife and their big standoff at the end where he summons a bear to kill Russell. I don't understand what was happening there. Like he just didn't stop the bear from killing his dad, or
So I think, yeah, I kind of hope we weren't going to talk about this, because there's more problems with this movie. Is I think he's doolittling, because I think he summons those water buffaloes too. Yeah. Well, that's why he got kicked out of the Marvel universe. Now he has to be in the Sony.
Yeah, the Bare Naked Lady should write a song about
I think he's a Doolittle, because I think those water buffalo were listening to him too.
So he's like controlling the animal kingdom.
I think.
Sure, why not?
Don't know. So I mean, I guess we're saying this. Best movie ever made. I think everybody should watch it, and have fun, guys. Kraven the Hunter. I'm really glad I had to sign up to a service and waste money to watch it.
I feel bad for everyone involved. I'm very curious as to what happened on the back end of things. Like why you had to CG clutch cargo a woman's mouth. I actually kind of want to go back and just watch that scene now, just to see what.
Yeah. Well, Corridor Crew, you can find it pretty easily. They're a huge YouTube channel. They'll find it for you, because there's a couple other CGI moments that they point out in there that aren't as fun to talk about, but they're obviously like,
I just mainly know them for that shitty AI thing they made. They tried to make like a live action anime and they had AI do it and it looks terrible.
Oh yeah. No, they do good. Like, if you ever see any of those, like, these bowling animations have gone too far, and it's like the 9/11 spare and that kind of thing.
I've not. No.
You ever seen that? Oh, it's like big on the internet, but like they made those as a bit.
I understand what you mean by bowling animations now. Like the things that show up when you yeah, okay. When you score a strike or whatever.
And they did like really horrible ones as a joke on their channel, but like the internet went nuts and just started stealing it, and like it shows up everywhere, like with no reference to them, which I find funny. But they try a lot of stuff. That's why I don't really blame them for that horrific anime thing, because they're just throwing shit on the wall.
But yeah, it is pretty wild that ends up happening. And it's just, I don't know. It makes me think of just sort of the way that you hear about Marvel and I mean, a lot of Disney stuff working, where it's like, well, we'll just try a bunch of stuff. Like, we don't really have a plan going into it. We're just going to do a bunch of stuff. And it's, no thanks.
Yeah, I really hope that Disney or Sony like learns their Sony should get all these get wiped. Like, it's just done. Like, we don't make any more like this, and do what DC's doing and what Marvel did, and get one guy to run the thing. Like DC just got James Gunn. Like, get one person that knows every character that they have the rights to, and just figure it out. Like, I don't even say you need to do the whole Marvel continuity, but if you want to have a lightly interconnected universe, sit down and think about it first. That's all I'm asking.
Isn't that Kevin Feige or whatever? Isn't that his job?
Well, he's not Sony.
Oh, you're saying Sony to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying Sony, because Sony's obviously a mess, and DC was a mess. So they went, oh, you know what I'm going to do? We'll get James Gunn, and he'll just be in charge of everything. Like just do that for this, because they have enough interesting characters that like they could make something interesting, but they're just throwing it against the wall. And it's like, well, those characters aren't that interesting. Those characters only work we made people care about Hawkeye because he was in that movie with the other people we care about.
Right.
You can do that.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Like if you, I think I had the same complaint about Morbius or Madam, one of those or whatever, where it's like, if you showed me this guy in action first before deciding I needed to care about him, that would work better than, you just going, oh, hey, Morbius. Hey, it's Kraven, everyone. You know Kraven, right? I don't want to, I can't get away from this without talking about the awesome ending where he lets his dad die because of a bear attack, and then his brother reveals, oh yeah, I got the chameleon surgery, so I'm gonna be bad now because I'm taking over dad's crime stuff. Oh, but dad left you something, and it's
oh god, I forgot about that. Yeah,
and it's a cool vest.
It's Kraven's vest, but it's made out of the lion that attacked him when he was young. And you talk about this every time we watch anything that's prequel-y, is this whole movie is how did this guy get his stuff? And that is the ultimate how this, that shit's just, that's his outfit. That's not like, oh, finally he's got the magical amulet that makes no, it's just
like
coat.
Hans Dice too. It's like, this is not a thing anyone cared about.
Yeah.
Like this is a thing you've decided is important and I do not give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, at least Hans Dice was like kind of a throwaway in that movie. Like it wasn't like, this was the end of that was the most important shot of this movie, is him leaning seductively with his big jacket on the chair. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Well, it's also,
and I sat,
well, I was just going to say also for an origin story that we're ostensibly supposed to be treating this thing as kind of an origin story where this is how he got his powers, this is what he's doing. He doesn't change. He's just like, nah, I'm a bad guy that hunts people. And at the end, I'm a bad guy that hunts people.
Yeah. He's like he's like a medium guy. Because he only kills bad people. He's like Dexter. And I waited through the end credits because I'm like, there has to be an end credit sequence, because this movie is so setting up something with Chameleon, with Rhino, with there was rumors that like this is going to lead to, he's going to fight Miles Morales Spider-Man because they don't have the rights to use Tom Holland Spider-Man, the actual Spider-Man. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like they were going to do that. And like, I'm like, all right, I'll watch and there's no post-credit sequence. And this is the first time I was ever like bummed out by that. Cause I'm like, I sat through these credits for like, there has to be one. How is there not a dumb post? And it's like,
I also think
anyway,
like if they were at all smart, I don't know, smart man might not be the right word, but like lean into how silly and dumb these things are. You know what I mean? Like give me a little bit of that. Like have the post-credit sequence, have someone say that it's Morbin time. Have someone, have like,
oh God, that'd be so
have something
good.
where Madam Web doesn't open a Pepsi or something. Like I just acknowledge that these things, that the way that people like these things are not for the reasons that you necessarily expected, but meet them at their level and you might get people to come see this crap.
Yeah. Oh, it's Morbin time.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah. So that was Kraven the Hunter, and don't ever watch it. Real bad. Not a good movie. Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next month. I would just like to tell you that we really appreciate you being a patron, and this is for you. John and I, 4 hours of our life gone for you. So please, just know we love you.
Bye.
Bye.